Hey everyone, happy Thursday. It is Mike Chaffee and Tyler Lau with WeLiveFantasy.com. And we are here because, well, we love NASCAR and we love DraftKings NASCAR. And we've been thinking about it and making lineups already, and it's only Thursday, and quite frankly, I was making them before the starting positions were on them because I feel like we really know the guys this week, and we've been working pretty hard at this, and we have our system down, and this is kind of where we're at right now, and we don't have to wait on qualifying, we don't have to wait on practice sessions, and this is what it is, and we got numbers and everything to look at. So this week, Xfinity and Cup, and they are both at Homestead Miami Speedway, a couple hours south of me, and now a lot hours south from you.
Very much so.
So, Xfinity this week, the Contender Boats 250 is 167 laps, so and long green flag laps. Um, Definitely, if you watch any Homestead race, long green flag laps. So you're going to have 167 chances at fast laps and lead laps, and those equal your Dominator points. So
Correct.
you got to have some of those guys, but there's definitely some place differential out there. Starting with the guy with the best averages pretty much across the board, and Tyler Reddick starting 38th, um, which
How do
is,
you not?
yeah, it's you kind of put that in and figure out the
Working on it.
rest. And
That's right.
I've clicked a lot of the top two guys because of a point you brought up before I watched last year's Xfinity race is Noah Gragson on the long runs. And that's what you're going to need, especially starting in the rear like he is.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at the two races last year, Noah just had by far the best car on the long run. After 15 laps, there was no match. And actually, once you got beyond 30 laps, he was running three-quarters of a second faster than the field. So
Yeah,
at that point, if he starts 35th on every start, he's getting to fifth. How does he not? How does he not do that in the first stage and then lead laps?
yeah.
Obviously
Just
there's some people in the field that we worry about being fast as well and leading laps, but when you have that kind of a car, two races in a row, it just tells me that you have to take him, especially starting 23rd.
yeah, yeah. Now with Reddick, are you worried at all about the team and the car that he's running for, or are you okay with everything?
Um, yeah, I mean that's obviously a concern, a question. And I've thought about that, but at the same time, when you look at people like and we'll get to it like JJ Yaley. Like he
Right.
he ran for he ran for SSR last year and ran 11th with that equipment. I mean that's just like that's amazing. So
Yeah.
I mean if somebody like JJ Yaley can run 11th with that kind of equipment, and we watched Sieg. Okay, so we're Reddick's and Sieg equipment. Let's compare. Last year's Sieg and in both races was able to run top 10 and run up front. Now there was some times where he took tires to get that advantage, but at the same time, if Sieg can run top 10, I don't see why Reddick couldn't have a chance at winning this race or at least leading a bunch of laps. And at worst case scenario, he's going to have half the fastest laps. So,
Yeah.
so you got to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he's gonna let it rip. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
he has no reason not to. He has um, the most realistic top 10 maximized place differential on the board. So
Correct.
you got to go there. I don't think I've clicked AJ Allmendinger. Um, and that kind of scares me because I know he's going to finish in the top 10. But I feel like with Reddick and Gregson, I can still dive down low and get some people, and I'll beat AJ Allmendinger people. I'll beat 30%, and God forbid something happens to him.
Yeah, and again, I go back to last year on this, and really his whole career here. This is not his track. If we're talking about a road course, he's always a threat. He did very well at Atlanta last year, which is a very high wear tire track, but you don't run the wall at that track to be fast. You run the bottom.
Right.
And he was good at it. He was very good at it, and that concerns me a little bit. But when I watched, him run this race last year, and I've seen the races he's run here before and his track record here, he's going to finish 9th to 11th.
Okay.
And with that being said, if that's the case, he's going to get you 55 points. I think Reddick starting 23rd, Reddick starting 38th. For 700 more, and Gregson starting 23rd for 300 more. I think you get way more than 55 points out of those guys.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Or at least the upside is there. I don't
Yeah.
see the upside with Allmendinger. I don't see the upside.
With Reddick and Gregson, I see Gregson as a potential outright winner.
Right.
Which is huge, which equals lead laps, which equals fast laps. With Reddick, you have the maximum place differential upside, fast laps, which you see if you look up anything online about Reddick at Homestead. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Ty Dillon next on the board at 10.5, starting 13th. What I thought was going to be an awesome year for Ty Dillon to run this car with a lot more opportunities has gone away. Do you see any fire under the ass kind of go out there and spank their asses coming from Ty Dillon in a car
Of
that's
course.
now proven to win?
Yeah, I mean, of course. He has to go out there and perform.
Yeah.
Otherwise he's going to be less and less races as the years go on, is what he's going to have.
Yeah.
I'm a Ty Dillon truther. I was rooting for him this year. I was like, God, I love to see him in great equipment. He's going to go out there and win 8-10 races and prove that he should have a good cup ride, because I still swear he's better than his brother. Call me crazy. But if he goes out there and finishes, 5th, again, I'd rather pay up and get Gregson and Reddick for the upside. And I know they're the chalky plays, but you almost need them. Now I don't mind leverage. I think at 10.5 you can get some leverage there, because I don't think a lot of people are going to pay for him at that price. I think if he
Yeah.
was in the 1,000 range, around a Brandon Jones price, I think everyone would have him.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be a better play. So I've got a little bit of him just to be covered. But I think you can get more down low for,
Yeah. Ty Dillon's average position all time 7.5
in Xfinity.
in Xfinity.
Yeah, I mean all right. That's good. Yeah.
So
So all right. So take 7, and all right. Well, you got 40 some points at 10.5. I don't like that.
yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I'm with you. With you 100%. Next guy on the list, probably the most likely candidate to be a dominator, but can he stay in first to make up for it? Probably the cheapest we'll see Cindric all in the next couple races, unless he goes out there and crashes and burns. Guy's on fire. Getting the best driver at 10.2. Are you going there?
Yeah.
Or,
Load up.
yeah.
Yeah. Load up. I feel like you have to. I feel like he's going to lead the first stage.
Yeah.
I feel he's he might even lead the second stage. The only problem is he could get the fence. He has done it before late in the going, so you got to keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
tread lightly thinking that, but I think you got to load up at that price.
For me, realistically, you can't get Reddick, Gregson, and Cindric. So for me, I either planted my flag in the Cindric Reddick, or I made Cindric and then as balanced and as much place differential as I could.
Which is smart.
That's
Absolutely.
that's how I did
Absolutely.
it. I mean,
the other thing to consider would be like I love the Reddick Gregson stacks. I mean, because you can still get some good points down low.
yeah, that's what I'm either Reddick
Yeah.
Gregson or it's Cindric and max place differential that way.
Right,
If you go Reddick Cindric, it leaves you 7,000. You can make that work.
right. And then my next thing was just in case Gregson or Reddick wrecks. My variation from that to save myself was Reddick Cindric and then Gregson Cindric.
Yeah.
I went maybe let's say 15% of my lineups with those two stacks just to save myself if one of those do wreck. At least I got something still in the money.
Right.
Because I could put my hand on my heart right now and say every single one of my lineups this race will have either Reddick or Gregson in it or both. You can't not have both. That's to
I'm
me.
I've been doing the same thing since we
Yeah,
talked. And since Monday, really, I've been waiting for it. So,
yeah. You have to have one of them or both because they're not. And again, this could happen. They could both wreck in the first lap. We all know anything can happen. But realistically, they're both not going to go out of this race. And if they do, I'm losing all my money. Like, you know what? It wasn't my week. I mean, otherwise, you're playing a fool's game, betting against them. It's a bad idea. It's like shorting stocks, but right now you'd be making a shitload. So sometimes you're right. Go for it.
hey,
Go for it.
you heard it here first, folks.
Go for it.
A lot of my Cindric lineups had Allgaier in them because I think it's just the play that I don't want to lose to this week. Um, I feel like every time I don't play Allgaier, he leads literally every single lap, and
Okay.
it's
Well,
dreadful to watch.
to make you feel better, he's never had a top five here ever.
I know,
Uh,
I know.
in both races last year here, 2 races in a row, he caught the fence multiple times and blown tires and had to pit and went out of the race in one of them. The other one he finished, I think it was like laps down.
So,
So
what do you think it is, though? Do you think it's him? Do you think he just can't handle it?
I don't know. It's like kickers in football, dude. Sometimes they miss a kick and then they miss 5 kicks and it just is in their head.
Yeah,
Like there's just something about this track.
yeah,
It does now again, I have a couple of him to be covered because God forbid he goes out there and does lead laps because you're right. He could. If this was Phoenix, I'd have a bunch of them.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
have a bunch. He could go lead all the laps, so I have a few just in case. But I think you're better paying down. I think
yeah,
you're better paying down
yeah.
because he can't.
And just for the record too, so we don't sound completely out of our minds, AJ Allmendinger's average finish is fourth since 2018. I'd still rather have Gregson and Reddick, just for the record. Just so that,
Oh, fourth in Xfinity.
yeah, in
Oh,
Xfinity
but most of his races have been road courses.
at Homestead.
Oh, at Homestead
He's raced here once since 2018, and he finished fourth.
last year.
I don't know if it was last year. It doesn't say.
Okay,
It doesn't.
I don't know.
I was just
All right. Hey,
just throwing it out
go
there,
for it.
just so we don't
Go.
sound crazy. But I'd rather have Gregson and Reddick. So,
Yep.
Harrison Burton and Brandon Jones. I took a few Brandon Jones just because I know Brandon Jones is really good at mile and a halfs and low grip racetracks and running multiple grooves. I have more faith in Jones over Burton. If you're going to play either one of those guys, you with me on that?
Yes, and we're probably wrong.
Well, if I had to rank those JGR guys that are 96 through 91, I would go Brennan Jones, Hemrick, Harrison Burton. And that's just my chaff rankings.
Wow. Okay. Well, even though Harrison Burton won the first race here last year.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't
I
care.
mean, he didn't get the points. The points he didn't get points all day. It wasn't. I don't even know if he
Listen,
was the winning lineup.
Daniel Hemrick is a really good race car driver and
He got terrible luck.
just horrible luck in the best race car of his life.
Horrible luck.
I just really, it's coming for Daniel Hemrick, and
He's the Eric Jones of Xfinity.
except Eric Jones won a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Hemrick, you know what I heard the other day? Hemrick hasn't won a race in any NASCAR series.
And it's hard to believe, especially how good he was that one year he ran, what was it, the 62 or for the South Point? I mean,
for
he
South
ran
Point.
so
Yeah.
good and he made the
Yep.
playoffs and
Yep.
everything, and
Yep.
it's just hard to
I didn't know
believe.
that. So it just shows you can know a lot about a sport and not know everything because I had no
Um,
idea. I would have lost that.
yeah, and Brandon Jones is really good. He's just a good
He
race
is.
car driver. But all the starting positions scare me. But if you're gonna play that game, I mean, you have the potential to have guys one, two, three right there.
Yeah.
But if any of them fail, if any of them fall back to 10th, it's gonna be ugly, and your bubbles are gonna be moving to the left.
Yeah.
Um,
I think what you said about the Jones Hemrick Burton, I'd probably go Jones Burton Hemrick. Would be my way of stacking them. And then we take price into consideration, and you're right. I mean, Jones is the best play
yeah,
for the price. For the
yeah,
price.
it's the
And I think
guy.
he's got lead lap potential. He gets out there and leads laps. Like Harrison Burton, he just is he's there in the top five all day, and then all of a sudden he ends up in the front with like 10 to go and wins.
Yeah,
He closes.
just
But he
like his
doesn't
dad.
yeah, yeah.
Just
He
just
doesn't get
like
to the point.
just like his dad. Justin Haley at 8,900, starting eighth, low owned pivot, but I mean, is he going to go out there and win the race? Is he going to beat Reddick? Is he going to beat Gregson? Is he going to beat Cindric? So that puts him fourth in my brain.
Yeah, at best.
Yeah,
Um,
and then he's got to beat all the JGR guys.
yeah. The way
So
I look at that is that he's like the Suarez of Phoenix. You take two just in case.
yeah,
If you're going to
because
mass center, 60, 70 lineups or whatever, 50, 60, 70 lineups, you take two because those could be the two that get you the money.
yep, because everyone's going to have the guy behind him. But once again, kind of a play you kind of have to have is Herbst.
Right.
In a great car, he's shown a lot of promise so far. Really got screwed at the road course. Um, this
He was
car,
the call. He was the call.
this is a podium car with a podium team, and can he park it on the podium? Is the question, and he could. If you go Gregson, Herbst, Reddick, you have 6,100 left over.
You could
Um,
do something with that.
and I've had a few of those. I have a few of those. Let's just say, um, because I mean, you're looking at guys that can all be in the top five.
Yep.
Um, that's a hell of a car he's in. Another guy that's already been through an Xfinity season. I like Riley Herbst. Don't let the negative 11 fantasy points per race scare you on him.
I hope everyone lets it scare them other than our watchers.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah,
everyone else is scared as shit by that except
yeah,
our watchers.
yeah. And then Mr. Ho Hum Michael Annett, 8,500, right where he's meant to be for the rest of his NASCAR career. 10th.
He's gonna finish 10th.
If you watch any of our videos on Xfinity, you will see our projections every week for Michael Annett are 10th, and
10th.
that's where he's going to finish. If he starts inside the top 10, you don't play him. If he starts outside the top 10, you play him.
You play him.
He's going to finish 10th.
He's gonna finish
Um,
10th.
it's straight up. Myatt Snyder starting 10th. Ironically enough, 8,300. Sneaky play.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky play. Sneaky play. If you wind up around 8,300 and you need to get off a net, Herbst, Sieg, guys like that, Snyder, he's been there. He's done that. He's in a really good car. Don't be
Yeah,
afraid to play Snyder, but don't be shocked if he finishes 9th or 11th because he's not going to finish 10th because
no.
Michael Annett's going to finish 10th. Jeb Burton, um, hell of a race car driver, Jeb Burton. Um, he's just started really well every race, so I haven't had a lot of Jeb Burton, but great car, great team, solid driver. Um, I mean, gun to my head, I say he finishes 7th.
Yeah, which is why you can't pay for him.
But if he gets up there and is mixing it up, more power to him. I missed on that, but I feel pretty confident in that because Ryan Sieg is right there at 8,000. Um, Playoff contending race car starting 22nd at 8,000. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and actually, if there's an early caution, he is for sure a play because he'll pit and he'll take tires and he'll try to win the stage, which means he'll get you, 20 or 25 fast laps because tires are such a big deal on this track.
Yeah, it's turning
And
it's turning into an Atlanta and California really quick.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Which last year, like I said, he was very quick here. He did very well here, which is why I brought up the Reddick point. Like it's not terrible equipment. And the other thing that which I didn't bring up and it came to mind with Snyder is Reddick is basically going to be running the same equipment that Snyder was in last year for Sieg, and Snyder ran about 10th to 12th, worst 13th that whole race. So if Snyder can run 10th to 13th, I think Reddick could easily run in the top 5 and contend for this win with the same equipment. And at the same time, that just says that much more for Snyder going to be in RCR equipment. I
Yeah,
think him starting 10th, if he ran 10th to 13th in C equipment, I don't see why he can't run in the top 10. I mean,
right,
top 5.
right.
So this is a great leverage play. I do. I really like Snyder, and like I said, that came about when you said the Sieg thing.
Yeah.
Sieg for sure is a play as well. I just wouldn't go too heavy.
Snyder average finish since 2018 is 11th in 2 races. Michael Annette's average finish is 11th. Nailed it last
Yep.
2 races. Jeb Burton average finish is 9th in the 1 race he ran. So there's that. All those guys' numbers show they're gonna finish right there. So,
Yeah. I mean,
but they're gonna
that's
be there. If anything happens to your Austin Cindric, if anything happens to your guys, you know, up in front of him, that's where those guys shine because they're gonna be there on the lead lap. They have the pit crews and the team to get them through. Josh Berry, if you're not familiar with Josh Berry, longtime junior motorsports driver in late models, raced late models all over the country, had a few stints in Xfinity, kind of peppered in over the past handful of years. Part-time official driver in the number 8 junior motorsports car. Don't have a lot of numbers on him. I think you sent me a screenshot. What did that screenshot say again?
so. I read an article, uh, and it explained his whole late model career with Junior Motorsports. I mean, he's been with Junior Motorsports for like 7 years now.
Right.
He's been with them for a really long time. It might be 8 years now. He's won with Junior Motorsports in the late models in the past 7 years. I think he's won 64.7% of his races.
And if you're not familiar with late model racing, some say it's harder to win.
Yeah, I mean that's insane.
Yeah.
It might be 67.4. Either one.
Yeah.
It's insane. That's crazy. Dude knows how to drive. He does have past experience here in an Xfinity car. In 2014, 15, he ran for Junior Motorsports and he finished 27th. So not the greatest of showings, but I didn't watch that race. I don't know what happened. Um, and 7 years later, with that many more late model wins, and he's run a couple more Xfinity races at Martinsville and stuff like that, I think he's a possible leverage play. I may have 3 or 4 of him. It's worth a shot. It's worth a shot to be different. He
Yeah.
definitely knows how to drive.
Yeah. And that car ran really well here last year with Dale Jr. in it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But we keep our eye on him for the rest of the year. He's got 12 races this year.
yeah. And he ran really good at Richmond when he
Absolutely.
ran last time, too. So,
Yeah. So we keep our eye on him.
once again, a lead lap car. Possibly. I'm a little hesitant to put my stamp on that. Um, just because this is a competitive series. Um,
And
but
this is a fast track.
yeah,
The
good,
pace is quick.
but good team. I know that car is going to unload well, as all the junior motorsports cars will. Sad that Brett Moffitt is starting 6th,
I know.
because I love him so much.
I
He's my
know.
spirit animal, and I love him. Um, I have a few just to play it because I love Brett Moffitt and I want him to go out there and just spank all these guys' asses. Especially since everyone's going to click Jeffrey Earnhardt with an average finish of 17th at $7,500. Jeffrey Earnhardt, I feel like even if he gets to 20th at $7,500, I'm kind of happy. So,
Yeah, and he'll pay for himself if that's the case.
yeah.
I didn't get there as much as I should have, and I just think it's the way I built my lineups.
Yeah.
He's not a bad play at all.
Yeah. He's in
It
my
is
max kind of style lineups for sure, though. Like where I
okay,
did Reddick and worked my way up from the back just to see what I could get, maximizing it with kind of realistic place differential type deal.
right? And actually, I have a few of them. Like I said, that's how I did it too. That's how I got there. But I think I ended up doing a little bit more of the too low and the four high, or too low, too medium, too high, because I think with the amount of place differential in this field, you could get the points elsewhere lower and take that money and spend it up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I think you can get there's a few people down low that I like a little more that I think have the same opportunity as Earnhardt.
Right.
That allows me to pay up
Right.
to get better spots. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah. Ditto that for me. Santoni, Ferrucci, I haven't clicked that once. I probably should click more LeBay just to cover my ass, but I haven't gotten there. I cannot touch Clements this week. And quite honestly, Vargas is the chalk I don't want to eat this week.
I agree. We don't have any good solid information on him or history on him.
I don't
Um,
really go out there and finish 15th and show me something. I'd rather lose that way.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
I just the races I watch of him, it seems like he's out there learning and he's out there doing all the right stuff, networking and doing all the right stuff, but um I'd
I would
rather
love to see it.
yeah, I'd
I would love
rather
to see it because Kamara's involved now, and Kamara. I actually read an article that Kamara's now paying like other NFL players to come to races to support. Like that's like paying for their tickets and shit, and like trying to get them to come to races because
yeah, once you get it there, you're hooked.
yeah,
It
I
happened to
mean
my
that's awesome.
wife, it happened to a
Yep.
lot of people I know. So,
Oh, Lacey, my girl. I mean, it's the same way, you know. But the other thing that's why I want to see him do well is just to bring. I think if he does good with Kamara as somebody who's on board, I think it does well for the sport. So
yeah.
I'd love to see it, but show us
Yeah.
before you do it like that.
If you go Gregson, Reddick, Vargas, um you're 6700 left over if you want to go that route. Yeah, ugh, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Can't do
Uh,
Williams. I'm sorry. I love you.
I know.
Fucking
I
fellow
know.
fellow Manatee County, Sarasota County, like
Yeah.
brother. Like I can't do it.
Yeah, Brendan Brown. I'm gonna have
Same
just
thing.
because I like the guy. Just a few clicks. He's in my Moffat lineups for the bro squad.
The bros
The
for the
bro
bro.
squad. Buford. I know you like throwing a couple at Buford. Um, is he? But he's an expensive Buford this week.
He is, especially on a circle track.
He's an expensive Buford.
Yeah, I'd rather go Galding. Galding just has the experience, and this is an experienced kind of track.
You know, Greg Alding is one of those drivers that always outperforms his equipment. Um, and yeah, because Landon Castle, God bless him. I want to
Uh,
play him so bad. I need him to really have a bad week so I can play him the following week. I know that sounds horrible, but
no. That's the way it needs to go. He needs to finish like 30th this week, so they price him at 5,200 next week, and he starts 24th or
yeah,
28th, and then we take
yeah,
him,
at
and then he
Vegas,
finishes
at
11th,
Vegas. Oh
and
yeah,
then we so then we
yeah,
make
at
all the money,
Vegas.
and
Yeah,
then we make
yeah.
come on.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Um, I picked a few Tommy Joe Martins.
Yeah, you
Um,
have.
and I stacked Tommy Joe and JJ Yaley because you've been pounding the drum for JJ Yaley all week. I'm like 110% Yaley owned. Uh, um, and I have a few him and Martins because when I do that, where'd it go?
You got a lot.
When I do that, I'm back to 7,700 with my Reddick Gregson stacks.
Yeah.
Um, which I can go pretty well balanced there. And that's actually where I found my Earnhardts, which allowed me to get Josh Berry in a lineup. Um, just for the hell of it. But yes, JJ Haley and Tommy Joe, go for it.
Yeah. Tommy Joe, I have to take him a couple times every week because he's one of those guys that finds his way to be in winning lineups when you don't think he's going to be. So you take two if you're mass entering. If you're not mass entering, don't take. Yaley, he's the play. I mean, he's the play of the week. He's the guy. What the hell are you doing? I'm talking to a wall, damn it.
I know, sorry. Sorry. No, I have 110% JJ Haley.
Yeah, he's the fucking guy, man. I watched the race last year, and you know what? You look at his track record here, and you
Yeah.
go, this is an experienced track. Like if I could say this enough, if there's one thing you could take away from this video, let me put it this way. In like 2000 fucking 13 maybe, Jones was one of the first ever to finish here in the top 10 in his rookie season. Like, and then the next person to do it was Reddick last year. Like, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Experience is what gets you around this place quick. And JJ Yaley has the most experience of anybody probably in this field, first of all, and way more than everyone at this price tag. And he's starting second to last. How do you not?
Yeah, and the
Last
worst
year,
the worst he's gonna finish is 27th.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like even if he somehow ends up laps down, which I don't think he will. I think he's going to end up. I'm going to call it. I think Yaley's going to end up 11th to 15th.
He's
11th
putting
to
his
15th.
name on it. I love it. I love it. I'm the same way.
Take him. Load up.
Yep. Listen, I put Brooks on the cover of my article this week in golf for a reason. I plant my flag in it. You live by it, die by it. If JJ
That's right.
Haley blows up on pit road, I'm cool with it because I'm going to bed tonight. I went to bed last night with Yaley in every line. Bailey Curry. If you need to get off JJ Haley like I needed to. I'm actually not playing Timmy Hill this week, and I know that is I see him in winning lineups all the time, but I'm not playing Timmy Hill this week.
He was in the winning lineup last week. Therefore, most chances are he's not going to be in the winning lineup this week. And the stats tell us that he won't be. This is not his type of track. Now, I tell you, in iRacing, he finished third here, but he's a beast in iRacing. I don't think it really mattered. He just was that much better than everyone else in iRacing. In real life, it's not his track. I agree with Curry. Take your stabs at Curry because Curry shows up a mile and a half every so often. And 34th at this price tag, go for it. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. It's worth a shot.
Yep.
I
Same
like
with
Yaley way better, but
yeah.
take the stabs at Curry if
Yeah.
you got to get off.
Yaley's gonna beat all these guys.
Yes.
Which is why I'm taking Yaley with you.
Yeah.
One little side note, I do have some Colby Howards. I do not have any David Stars because feel like when I take David Starr, he's sitting on pit road like lap 3. Joe Graff Jr. has an average finish of 14 and a half that I noticed in the last 2 races. And Matt Mills posted today that this is one of his favorite tracks to run. Unfortunately, you know, I Kyle Weatherman 12th, no way. I really haven't gotten there with any of these guys, even with those stats in mind. Um, I just feel like if you go that route, you really need to nail it up top. You need to nail it because those guys aren't going to score you. The one thing I did do is I just found my Joe Graff and Mills lineup, my one lineup with those guys, and it was Reddick, Gregson, Mills, Graff, Earnhardt, Cindric. So I'm praying that Cindric gets out there and dominates and stays up there, and that Gregson and Reddick get up there, and that Joe Graff and Matt Mills don't freaking die. Because if they do, there's no doesn't matter what any of those other four guys do. I'm going to be negative 20 on both those guys if they
Yeah.
if they go out there and mess it up. So just beware. You can do it. I'm sure you're going to run into people who do that. Um, but go Howard and Yaley and make it up that way.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I think Howard is also a play.
Yeah, just
You
stay
brought, you
there.
brought,
Just
yeah,
stay
you brought
right
up.
there.
That's right. You brought up David Starr. I like David Starr. I met him at Darlington in the infield, so I'm a little bit biased on David Starr. He was riding around in like a handicapped person's three-wheel freaking electric car, dude, and was drinking a Bud Light and came up and just talked with us for about 30 minutes. Cool as hell, coolest fucking dude ever. Um, and I took some because he's starting 40th, and like I said, this is an experienced track, and he's got more experience than everyone down here other than Yaley. So I went there. I wouldn't recommend it. That's probably the play of the week that I wouldn't take, that I'm taking.
Yeah.
But I went there. I went there a couple times, and I really like Howard. I know 28th is scary for Howard, but at 4,900 and for a leverage play to get you back up top to get you some serious points, I love it because I think he could possibly get a top 15. And if he gets a top 15, that gives me 35 points out of a guy that's $4,900. Love it, take it, eat it all day,
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
all day. So I've got some plays. I wouldn't go crazy there, but it's worth some shot.
There you go. Is there anyone else down here at all for you?
No, I wish Little was starting in the 20s and Graff was starting in the 20s because if they were, I'd be all over 'em.
Yeah, but they probably wouldn't be there in pricing. So,
That's true. That's
um,
true.
but yes, but they would be down there. So, Reddick and Gregson,
Load up.
my guys, I really just digging. Herbst in the middle, Sieg in the middle, Barry pivot, and down low Howard and Yaley.
Don't
I'm not
forget Snyder pivot.
Snyder pivot too.
Snyder pivot.
Snyder pivot too. So
Pivot.
let's switch gears over to the Cup race. And what what the biggest thing I noticed, and the biggest takeaways for me are pretty much the news and notes the same. Dixie Vodka 400, 267 laps around Homestead, Miami Speedway, long green flag laps. You want guys that are going to stay on the lead lap. This qualifying system has it all wonky donkey again. Um, until we get to the midpoint of the season, I don't think it's really going to be right, unfortunately. But that's where we're at. A lot of place differential on this board. A lot of guys that have disappointed over the first 2 weeks. Tyler and I have been watching NASCAR a long time and lived it a long time, loved it a long time. And one thing we've talked about even before DFS is how good Kyle Larson is at Homestead Miami Speedway, and how if he was ever to make the final four that it would be his championship because of how fast and how much faster he is. And if you've watched the last, I would say, 5 Homestead races, minus last year because of the craziness um, that he went through, um, you notice that he had the best car when they went to stages. He had the best car in the first 2 stages, and then just runs 5th the rest of the night and lets the championship guys go up there and handle their business and doesn't get in the middle of it. There was one year he was leading with 30 laps to go. I think it was 2018. He was leading with 30 to go and literally pulled over and let Kyle Busch and Martin Truex go after each other. Or Logano and Truex, one of those combinations. It might have been Kyle Busch and Truex. Um, and he just lets them go and then just sits right behind them. I think he would have 4 wins here if this wasn't the championship race. And I think he is my winner this week of this race. And I can say that wholeheartedly. And, he might not be there the first stage. He might need to get it where he needs to get it with Hendrick Motorsports in his first thing, but he's going to be there by the end of that race. And I'm all in on Kyle Larson this week. So I wanted to get that out of the way before you hear me say Kyle Larson. Like we talked about Gregson and Reddick and Xfinity. It's Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick and Cup. Sorry about it.
No, it is.
It is.
It is. And again, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And if that's how we lose this week, that's how we lose this week. Yeah. I would rather lose that way, knowing I played the guys, than to lose trying to fade them, because it's just that's fool.
The way I felt about Martin Truex last week is Kyle Larson this week.
Yep.
And Martin Truex had me up $293 off of $30 that I entered last week, and it all went away with that wheel hop. And then Briscoe's hood flying up. Just tough beat, tough break, but it is what it is. It was the right call, right? I mean, look how big we were up. That's why you don't watch Bubbles, folks, but it's an addiction. So
I stopped watching them.
Yeah. So a lot of Dominator points and a lot of place differential this week for the Cup Series. Kyle Busch starting 24th, highest priced on the board, almost at $12K, 11,800. Pretty expensive.
Yeah, very. I made a couple lineups again. If you're mass entering, you got to take a couple just in case he does find a way to get to the front and win a race. Yeah. But I still think he's going to struggle this year because there's no practice. I mean, there's just certain drivers that can jump in a car and nail it and be fine and communicate with their crew chief quicker on what they need adjustment-wise. And there's some drivers that need that hour or two before the race to really get that feel in the car that they want. Even if it comes off the trailer fast, it just doesn't quite have that feel they need.
Yeah.
To win the race or run top 5. And
it's like not hitting the driving range and just going to the first tee of a PGA Tour event.
Right.
Like no putting, no nothing. You just show up drunk and get out there and go do it.
That's right. Like Schauffele, dude. Like Schauffele, just put him anywhere you want, whenever you want. He's going to be decent.
Right.
So
I will say this about Kyle Busch. Since 2018, average finish 3.6, and he has 1 win, 2 top 5s. He's finished in the top 10 all 3 races, and he's led 143 laps. Some of those were championship races, so he's up there starting up front and doing all that. But his worst finish in the last 3 races is 6th. So just be ready. Be ready for Kyle Busch. Definitely like Kyle Busch over Martin Truex Jr. And even though his average finish is really good, he's got to pass a lot of good cars to get up there and dominate. He's got to pass Harvick. He's got to pass Brad, Joey. He's got to pass the pole sitter, Denny Hamlin, who's probably going to get out in that fresh air and just let it eat the whole first stage. So believe it or not, I'm not really feeling the Truex this week, and he'll probably go out there and set the world on fire, but I'm not there. I'd rather have Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Blaney, Harvick, and those guys underneath him. Be honest.
I'm right there with you. And just to get back to the Kyle Busch thing real quick, even if he does finish 6th at that price tag, once that gets you 60 points, I think you can get way more out of paying down. So I don't think he's going to lead laps, and if he does, like I said, I got a few just in case, but there's just a lot of good people at this track he's got to beat, and it's not a championship race.
Yeah, right.
And same with Truex. Starting 9th, only $400 less. I mean, he's really got to get out there and lead a bunch of laps to pay for himself.
Yeah, and is he going to pass Harvick? Is he going to pass Hamlin? I mean,
I don't think he passes. I don't think he passes Hamlin, and I think Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney and Reddick pass him. So no, I don't see him being a play.
Or a
Um,
dominator, really, for that
right,
matter.
right. I
What?
like Chase. I mean, Chase showed me some real
Yeah,
fire last year here when it wasn't a championship race.
yeah,
He was there running with Hamlin at the end. He was there all day in the top five. I love that play. He's very pricey, so he's definitely got to lead laps.
yeah,
Um, I think it's doable. I think you got to be there. I wouldn't go crazy. It's probably not the best play. Um, you touched on Larson and said it exactly the way I would have. If you don't take him, you probably shouldn't be betting on NASCAR. Um, uh, yeah, so load up on Larson, Blaney. Like you were saying, and also he last year again it wasn't a championship race for the first time since he's ran here, and he was lights out. I mean, was one of the fastest cars all day, led a shitload of laps. I think the second most all day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And super disappointing start to the season for him.
yeah,
Him and Todd Gordon are way, way, way better than that.
yep,
And it's gonna happen. I mean, it's gonna happen. Kyle Larson right now is plus 850 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So if you bet $5 on him, you'd win 47.50. So I would go out there and do it.
yep,
By the way,
yep. What's Reddick?
let's see, plus 2,200. So a
Ooh,
$5 bill is 115 bucks in your pocket.
ooh.
Let's do
I
my
mean, it's been the
mortgage.
year of like random winners, right? Could they do it again? Reddick.
If you were to bet the house, you would win $5.8 million.
What's the house?
250. 250,000.
One day, dude.
Tyler
One
Reddick.
one day we're gonna let it rip.
Listen, if you bet the house on Kyle Larson, let's see what that would be. 2.3 million.
We'd take that too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
We'd take that
That'd be
too.
pretty sweet. Denny Hamlin is the favorite to win this race, and he's priced down here at 9,600.
I know it's
Uh,
crazy.
it,
It's
it
crazy.
it it is really crazy. Um, might be the cheapest you see Denny Hamlin for a while. Um,
I don't know what like. All right, so here's the deal. I know DraftKings has got whatever algorithms they run and shit like that or whatever, but do they not like look up past history sometimes? Like it
I
just blows my mind
I
that
don't know.
it
It go
blows my mind that Hamlin won the race here last year
right,
and dominated the second half of it. Like
right.
like just dominated this, and he's nine. Why? Why?
Yeah, and okay, so the odds-on favorite to win is Denny Hamlin, and he's at 96. The guy with the best all-time um, average finish, Kevin Harvick, has an average finish of 7.4. Fun fact of the day, that's even better than Phoenix Kevin Harvick, where everyone says Kevin Harvick, Kevin Harvick, Kevin Harvick, Kevin Harvick, Kevin Harvick at Phoenix. This is actually Kevin Harvick's statistical best track. So it's not by that either. So I don't know what algorithm they're using.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. So, anyways, load up on Hamlin. Just know that obviously, if he has a bad day or gets fucked up in the end, it's
You're
gonna
so
hurt.
screwed.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's
You're
gonna
so
hurt.
screwed if you do it. Um, all last year, it was Harvick Hamlin, it was Hamlin Elliott were dominators at mile and a halfs, and Joey Logano was always kind of right there as well. So they're running that same 550 package. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, but look, here's the problem with Logano. He might jump out there and lead the first like 10 or 15 laps because Hamlin, the way he drives this track, is he saves his shit for the long run because he
Yeah.
knows it's mostly long runs. So I really do think Logano might lead the 10 or 15 first laps.
Yeah.
But if he falls back to like even eighth, which is very reasonable, he didn't get you the points you needed. So
Yeah.
I can't run that risk. Um, I can't run that risk when Hamlin is only 300 more than him, or I
Yeah.
could put it down to William Byron starting 31st, who's going to finish eighth.
Yeah. And I think he's at perfect priced place differential play too,
Yeah,
because everyone's going to go to Benedetto.
that's fine.
And Benedetto, someone put a curse or a hex on that race car because
Yeah,
that poor guy has wrecked every race so far this year. Even the Clash, um, the car was wadded up. So, listen, something's got to turn around for him. Um, I'd rather have Byron and Reddick, and
Yeah,
let
me too.
and I love Matt DiBenedetto. I love the dude. I want him to do well, but you gotta do something somewhere. And I think Reddick's gonna beat the shit out of DiBenedetto. And I think Reddick beats the hell out of Byron too, but Byron's the second best play out of these three guys for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, you need Reddick. You need
Yeah,
him.
8,500. Yes, yes,
You know,
yes,
the
yes.
problem was his starting spot. Like, I wish he was starting like 18th.
Reddick.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course, of
yeah. If he was starting like
course.
18th, I think there would be like hardly anybody on him. You know, especially if he was a little more pricey, and I would
Yeah,
still load up on him.
yeah. And if you did Larson Reddick stacks like we're talking about Gregson and Reddick stacks in Xfinity, which I'm doing a lot of, it leaves you 7,700 left. So
Yeah,
it's really, really easy to get her done from
yeah.
there.
Go to town.
With really, really good guys in this price range, like Alex Bowman, who's starting in the perfect spot, because he's going to get us a top 10,
Yep,
and he's really good at low grip racetracks. He's proven that forever and ever and ever and ever. And it seems like dirt guys do good at this racetrack because they know when to move around and they know when it's time to get to that next spot to find grip just that little bit more than some of the other guys. So,
yeah. I mean, they're used to hanging it out. You know,
right.
they're used to hanging it out. I mean
Yeah.
that I like Bowman.
I like Bowman too.
I like
Bowman the
Bowman.
showman, baby.
That's right. I don't know that I could do Kurt starting fifth. It's
Yeah.
tough.
He's just
You know.
another guy that shows up on mile and a half tracks. So don't be surprised if he's up there. Um,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of place differential around there if he's just going to run 10th all day too.
that's right. That's right.
Um,
Like
Eric,
Almirola.
yeah, yeah, he's right in that spot where you'd probably bet an over under. His average finish is 12th since 2018. Um, he's a top 10 machine on circle tracks.
Yeah, I'd rather pay down for Dillon. I think.
Yeah, and even then, I'd rather have Chastain, Briscoe, mostly Briscoe. Briscoe's the best play in the 7K range for go out there and stomp him in the fucking face and win this thing material.
Yep.
Um, and getting the place differential, it's Briscoe, Chastain. I like those guys a lot. I'm gonna have some Christopher Bell though too. Um, not only not just because he won last week, which I'm so happy for, because I've watched Xfinity races and I've watched races of him racing here, and the guy just lets it rip, just like Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick, and he's not afraid to hang that right rear right on that fence.
Yep.
Um, and starting third, no one's going to take him because they're going to click Chastain and Briscoe. Um, but Briscoe's a lock for me this week. Um, at 72. And I think Chastain, we've watched Chastain run his balls off here in trucks and
And
Xfinity.
expensive.
I
Yep.
mean, the guy, and had really bad luck so far this year. Um, and Briscoe kicked so much ass last week. Okay, like driving with the hood over his fucking car and no power steering around that track to hang on to what he did. And before that, he was in the top five. Um, and he's a winner. He's a winner.
Proven.
He's gonna
Proven.
he's gonna do it this year. I just feel it, especially with 7 road courses. Come on. Um, Bubba Wallace, you mentioned earlier this week that he actually ran really good here. Seems
Yeah.
like he has a halfway decent feel of this racetrack. I'm excited to see what 2311 has this week, but I still think Eric Jones beats him. Eric Jones really, really likes this racetrack.
Yeah.
And
And he's proven that he can run here.
and he's
He's
another
proven.
guy that will put it where it needs to go. His crew chief was on Sirius XM, and the radio host asked his crew chief, what have you talked with Eric about where he wants the car to be? And he said, Eric told me I will put it wherever it's fastest, so you just make it fast is the game plan for this week.
Good.
And
I
he's
like the
got,
sound. Of
I forgot he had Tony Baxter on the box, and Tony Baxter, he's been there, done that. And I like Eric Jones. I like Eric Jones a lot this week. I have a shit ton of Eric Jones.
Yeah. I wouldn't take a shit ton because he could blow left rear.
Oh,
It's kind of his thing.
he's gonna do something. Don't you worry. um,
I've got some.
I
I've got some.
Ricky Stenhouse. I gave some thought towards Ricky Stenhouse, but then I looked at his average finish is 18th. Another guy who can dominate this racetrack in Xfinity Series, and his second time coming back here in a Cup car, Cole Custer, 6,600. I know he's starting 10th, but he feels like such a good value to me. I don't know why, but I'm just feeling Cole Custer at
You know why?
6,600 this week.
You know why? Because he was about that same price and started in that same spot when I took him at Phoenix, and he finished seventh and won the lot.
I feel I've watched, if you watch any highlight tapes from this track, Cole Custer's in them, and he's coming back here again. I mean, the fact that him and Briscoe are on the same team on Stewart-Haas Racing's in really good hands for years to come.
Oh, absolutely.
For well into the future. Whatever happens there, with Eric Almirola and Harvick's future, they're in good hands there, man. Ryan Newman. Here's a name that is just right in that spot where, like, I feel like that would be the over-under for him to finish this week. So I haven't touched it.
I haven't either.
His average finish is 17.3. So
yeah, I'm good with not touching that.
Yeah, I'm really not there with Roush Fenway Racing this week as a whole. I'm not there with Michael McDowell. Listen, I'm very hella happy that Michael McDowell and Ryan Preece are doing what they are doing. I think it's really cool. And it shows a lot of parity in our sport right now that these two guys are top 10 in points and kicking ass. The one thing I heard about Preece is that he drives better when his back's to the wall, like in a contract year, or he like is going to run out of money if they don't finish this race, which is how he pretty much ran modifieds and late models and everything, and kind of the whole bet on me thing when he spent all his money to run those Gibbs races that one year.
Yep.
That team, just a reminder to people who don't pay attention like we do, that team doesn't have a charter. They're not guaranteed the race and to show up and be in the race if too many cars show up or if all the charters show up, whatever. NASCAR's stupid rules. So he's got to be there for the points, and he's got to be, in it to win it. And I think it's really cool, but he's not finishing better than 8th this week. I love him, but Suarez starting 21st, probably going to finish 25th.
I mean, he's mi amigo. We all know this.
Yeah, he is.
I love me some Suarez, and I was so glad to see him finish so well last week, and I had all of them.
Yeah.
And damn near everything. But
me too. I'm excited to see what that car has as well. If you want to take a chance, go for it. But you can have Alfredo LaJoy and BJ McLeod down here below him to make up the difference, because I like the pasta this week. You brought up the pasta. He ran really good. He's in a cup car. Give him the first. If he doesn't go a lap down, it's a good day for Anthony Alfredo.
Yeah,
he's going to be running really, really well if he's on the lead lap by the end of this thing. Hopefully, if he does get a lap down, he gets a couple lucky dogs, because probably by the end of this race, he'll have it figured out.
Absolutely. He ran very well here in Xfinity. Very well in Xfinity. He ran for RCR and ran top 10 all day. He was hanging it out. So, John Hunter Nemechek did pretty well in that car last year, or that team last year. And I think he ran, I don't remember where he finished off the top of my head, but he ran like 18th, 22nd all day. If Alfredo does that, at his price tag, that really opens up the top for some points. So I like Pasta, and God forbid he finishes 16th. That would just be. I mean, he could do it, dude. He could
Yeah.
do it. So that's where you want to be. And like you said, BJ's really the only other one to consider down here.
Yeah.
And
Start
that's a
third. I
complete dart throw because we don't have no idea what his equipment's like.
No, but I'm willing to take that chance.
I am too. I
I'm
am too.
willing to roll the dice there on that. And that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I'll stand by it.
Yeah. Oh man, they knew that this lineup would win it. That's why
They knew it. Let me hear it.
Briscoe, Chastain, Kyle Larson, BJ McLeod, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch missed it by $200.
Of course. That's why he wasn't 11-6. That's why he wasn't 11-6.
Yeah, I can't do Truex there. I can do Elliott and just run that down. Fuck you guys for doing that. All right, let's put Kyle Busch in there, and we can do Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, and down. I'm gonna do that one. So for all you cool cats and kittens listening right now, and you've made it to the end of this video, um, here's a killer lineup: Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, B.J. McLeod, Reddick, Eric Jones. Leaves you $300 on the board that you can go back and kind of mix and match that. I really like that one because I feel like that has a potential for 5 guys in the top 10 and BJ McLeod in the 20s. And you got a couple dominators in there too. And that is a great pivot play off of your Chase Elliott, Harvick's, Hamlin's, things like that. That you can really kind of get silly with here.
All right. Well, I'm thinking something like let's see what we got here. Let's go Larson. Let's go Larson. Are we doing? You want to do a BJ? All right, BJ.
Yes, I would love a BJ.
Yeah. Would you?
Okay. Um, I'm sorry if I'm staring here brain dead. I was just looking for my max place differential most realistic here, and I was trying to find it.
That's dangerous. Let's see what we got. I mean, oh yeah, you can go real crazy place differential if you take BJ.
Yeah, you can, and it truly works. Um, it can truly work for you. So to me, my most realistic place differential lineup, with guys who I believe can all maximize their efforts is DiBenedetto, Reddick, Chastain, Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Anthony Alfredo. That leaves $800 left over, which is $6,300 overall. And Alfredo was just, to me, biggest upside besides BJ. If you go BJ, it leaves 1,700, and you can pivot off to Benedetto if you think everyone's going to have him, and you can go Blaney down, which is another realistic place differential. Or you can go Byron in there, and then you have all guys starting in the 30s with a Kyle Busch starting 24th, which
Yeah,
is
that would be right. So now your max place differential. Yeah,
max realistic place
place.
differential. Like that's your most realistic one. All those guys are better than the spots they're starting.
Absolutely. I got
Hands
I
down.
got that Larson BJ lineup for you.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it. Hang on, let me pull up that lobby. Okay, go ahead.
Larson, BJ, Reddick, Briscoe, Hamlin, and then you got Logano down.
All right, so I have Hamlin, Larson, BJ, Reddick, Briscoe. Oh yeah, that leaves you 9,400. That's crazy.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how do you not like that? Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna put one Logano in there.
yeah, why not? Why not?
I just feel like it's gonna be another
Or
Logano
or
super
or what you
low
would do
owned with
there,
the people around him.
or what you would do there is you would take Logano and put him in and take Hamlin out because you don't want first and second in the same lineup. I don't think.
Right.
And instead, you would take
Mm.
Logano, Byron.
Let me hear your thoughts on this one. Briscoe, Larson, McLeod, Reddick, Harvick, Di Benedetto.
Okay. Okay.
That one's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'd go Hamlin, Byron, or Logano, Byron before that.
Okay.
I think Di Benedetto is going to finish like at best 11th, and I think Byron could easily finish 6th to 8th.
Or he's gonna
I think,
blow the fuck up again.
or he's going to fuck up.
He's just he's just been awful. He's just really been awful and it sucks.
Who's that?
Di Benedetto.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
He's just been awful and it sucks. It really sucks. It
Yeah,
really
burrito, man. Burrito.
Yeah,
Well, anyways,
burrito.
yeah. If
Well,
y'all got any
listen.
questions or anything, fucking holler at us.
Yeah, and that's the
Let us
truth.
know.
If you've made it this long in this video, you probably would love our website, and you would probably love to follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Um, Send me a message on Twitter. Send Tyler a message over there on the Facebook, and send Lacey a message on WLF Bets on Instagram. Um, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, if we didn't answer them, if you think we're idiots, or if you have anything else fun to comment, go ahead and comment down below. Hit the like button. Send us some love. Hope you guys have a good weekend. I will be in quarter jukebox dollar lobbies in Xfinity and Cup. So if you want to beat me.
I'll be in the bigger lobbies. I'll also dabble in cup. I'll be down in the 50-cent, dollar, and probably in the $4 just because why not?
Yeah, I'll
Feel
probably
good.
throw one or two darts into big lobby because I
Larson,
I have
Reddick.
to. I have to. I
Yeah, Larson Reddick
feel like I
stacks,
have
baby.
to. Good luck this week, everyone. Thanks for watching.
That's it.